There are moments in life that feel random, but they are never random at all. They are carefully designed intersections between destiny and preparation. This is one of those moments. The universe does not announce it loudly. Instead, it whispers through coincidences, delays, and strange emotional shifts that you cannot explain. You may feel like your life has been stuck, like nothing is aligning, but what if that pause is actually preparation for something extraordinary? Because there is a meeting coming, a connection that doesn't follow logic, timing, or probability. It is not built on social status, beauty trends, or popularity. It is built on recognition, soul recognition. The kind that makes your heart feel like it has seen this person before, even if your eyes haven't. And when it happens, it will not feel like an introduction. It will feel like a return. Many people spend their entire lives chasing attention from the world, but this connection flips that completely. The world may want this person. They may be admired, desired, even chased endlessly, but they are not looking for the world. They are looking for you. And that changes everything about how love, destiny, and alignment work. You might not be ready yet, and that's okay. Because readiness is not about perfection. It is about emotional awakening. The version of you that once accepted confusion, rejection, and emotional chaos is not the version that will meet this connection. You are being refined, even if it feels like breaking. If this message resonates with you, pause for a second and reflect. Have you ever felt like someone important is on the way in your life? Comment below and share your thoughts. And if you're watching this on Mirror of the Soul, don't forget to like and subscribe, because what comes next will challenge everything you think you know about love. There are individuals in this world who carry an energy that attracts attention without effort. They enter rooms and shift atmospheres. People notice them, admire them, and sometimes even obsess over them, but very few actually understand them. This is the kind of person the world wants. But here, the hidden truth, being wanted is not the same as being seen. Most people see surface value, beauty, confidence, success, but very few see emotional depth. And this is where destiny begins to separate the crowd from the connection that truly matters. This person has been through many superficial connections. They have been praised, approached, and pursued. Yet something always feels missing. A quiet emptiness follows them even in admiration, because attention is not the same as alignment, and admiration is not the same as emotional safety. And then something shifts. Despite being wanted by many, they begin to feel drawn towards something rare, something peaceful, not loud, not dramatic, not chaotic, just real. And that realness becomes more attractive than anything the world has offered them before. Before destiny brings two people together, it first transforms them separately. This is the stage most people misunderstand. They think nothing is happening, but in reality, everything is changing internally. Emotional patterns begin to break. Old attachments begin to lose power. Even familiar comforts start to feel unfamiliar. You may notice yourself becoming more selective, more emotionally sensitive, even more isolated at times. This is not loneliness, it is preparation. Your soul is clearing space for something that cannot enter a crowded emotional system. Something sacred requires emptiness to enter. And the same is happening on the other side. The person the world wants is also going through a quiet transformation. They are beginning to question surface-level connections. They are beginning to feel exhausted by attention that lacks depth. They are unknowingly being prepared for emotional truth. This stage is often uncomfortable because it feels like loss, but in spiritual reality, it is refinement. You are not losing people, you are losing misalignment. And that is one of the most painful but powerful transitions a human being can experience. There comes a strange point in life where nothing external seems to change, yet everything feels different inside you. Your emotions begin to shift without warning. Your thoughts become deeper, more reflective. Even silence starts to feel heavier, as if it is carrying meaning you cannot yet understand. This is not coincidence. It is energetic alignment beginning to activate. In spiritual understanding, before two destined paths cross, both energies begin to vibrate at a similar frequency. You may feel moments of nostalgia, sudden emotional waves, or even dreams that feel unusually real. It is as if your subconscious is preparing you for a meeting your conscious mind has not yet accepted. This stage often confuses people because nothing visible has happened yet. No person has arrived. No event has changed your life. But internally, everything is shifting. This is why many people feel restless right before something meaningful enters their lives. They are standing at the edge of transformation. The person the world wants is also experiencing this same shift. They may not understand it, but they feel a growing disconnect from shallow attention and temporary validation. Something within them is starting to search, not for more people, but for the right person. Some people are admired by many but truly understood by almost no one. The world is drawn to their appearance, their confidence, their energy, but it rarely stays for their depth. This creates a cycle where they are constantly surrounded, yet emotionally alone. What the world often wants is the version of them that is visible. But what the soul truly needs is the version that is invisible, the one that carries fears, dreams, wounds, and emotional truth. And that version is rarely seen by the masses. You are different in this equation, not because you are better, but because you are aligned differently. You do not approach connection as possession or admiration. You approach it as understanding. That is something rare in a world obsessed with appearances. And this is why, despite having endless options, this person begins to feel disconnected from everyone else. They are surrounded by attention but starving for emotional safety. And when you enter their life, you do not compete. You complete the missing language they've been searching for. Before destiny allows two souls to meet, it tests them in silence. These tests are not obvious challenges like failure or success. Instead, they appear as emotional distance, delayed relationships, misunderstandings, and moments where nothing seems to make sense. You may wonder why certain people left your life. You may question why things did not work out when they almost did. But these were not failures, they were filters. Life was removing what cannot exist in the same space as your future alignment. The same test happens for the person the world desires. They experience emotional exhaustion from superficial connections. They begin to notice that admiration without understanding feels empty. Slowly, they are being guided away from noise and toward depth. This phase is difficult because it feels like rejection, but in truth, it is redirection. What is not meant for you is being removed not to punish you, but to prepare you. Every ending is silently building space for something more aligned. One of the most confusing phases in life is when people you once felt connected to begin to feel emotionally distant. Conversations feel repetitive. Interactions feel lighter but less meaningful. You are physically present but emotionally disconnected. This is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that your emotional frequency is changing. You are outgrowing connections that once matched your old version, and growth always comes with temporary loneliness. At the same time, the person the world desires is also going through this shift. They may be surrounded by conversations, messages, and attention, yet feel a strange emptiness. This is because their soul is no longer satisfied with surface-level interaction. There is a stage in life where silence becomes louder than noise, and solitude begins to feel like a constant companion. You may find yourself withdrawing, not because you hate people, but because nothing around you feels emotionally honest anymore. This is emotional isolation, and it is often misunderstood as loneliness. But in reality, this isolation is a sacred filtering process. Life is removing emotional distractions so that your awareness becomes sharper. When too many voices surround you, it becomes impossible to recognize what truly matters. Silence, although uncomfortable, becomes the space where clarity is born. During this phase, you begin to notice that shallow conversations drain you faster than before. You crave depth, sincerity, and emotional truth. This is not a coincidence. It is alignment. Your inner world is upgrading, even if your outer world feels still. The person the world desires is also going through this. Despite being surrounded by attention, they feel unseen in the deepest sense. Their isolation is not physical, it is emotional. They are beginning to realize that being wanted is not the same as being understood. There comes a powerful turning point in every journey where pursuit ends and transformation begins. You stop chasing people, validation, and outcomes, and instead, you begin focusing on becoming someone aligned with your truth. This shift is subtle but life-changing. When you stop chasing, your energy changes completely. You are no longer moving from desperation but from presence, and presence is far more powerful than pursuit, because what is meant for you does not require force, it requires alignment. The interesting part is that the moment you stop chasing, things you once pursued begin to move toward you. Not because you forced them, but because you are no longer blocking your own energy with emotional dependence. The person the world desires is also shifting into this awareness. They are beginning to feel overwhelmed by attention that requires no emotional depth, and slowly, they start to value authenticity over admiration. At a certain point, life begins to feel like it is moving towards something you cannot fully describe. You may not know what it is, but you feel it. A quiet inner pull, a sense that something significant is approaching your life, even though there is no visible evidence. This feeling is not imagination. It is intuitive alignment. The human psyche often senses emotional and energetic shifts before they physically manifest. That is why you may feel anticipation without reason or emotional sensitivity without cause. You may also begin noticing synchronicities, repeating numbers, meaningful coincidences, or emotional déjà vu. These are not random events. They are subtle signals that your path is aligning with something significant. The person the world desires is also experiencing this same pull. They may not understand it consciously, but they feel drawn away from superficial environments and toward something more grounding, more real. One of the most painful yet transformative experiences in life is when people begin to leave without explanation. Some relationships fade, some conversations stop, some connections simply dissolve, even without conflict. It feels confusing, but it is deeply meaningful. This process is not random, it is refinement. Life removes people not to punish you, but to protect your alignment. Not everyone is meant to walk into your next chapter. Some are only meant for a previous version of your journey. At first, this feels like loss. You question what went wrong. You replay memories. But slowly, you begin to realize that peace returns after each departure. And that peace is the sign you were waiting for. The person the world desires is also going through similar emotional clearing. They are starting to feel disconnected from people who once entertained them. Their standards are shifting, not consciously, but naturally. There is a moment in your journey where you begin to notice something strange. People start reacting to you differently. Some are drawn to you without explanation, while others quietly distance themselves. You may not have changed your appearance, but something within you has shifted. This is the mirror effect. Your internal state begins to reflect outwardly in the way others perceive you. When your energy becomes calmer, more grounded, and more self-aware, you naturally attract people who resonate with that frequency. At the same time, those who are aligned with chaos, ego, or superficiality begin to drift away. The person the world desires is also experiencing this shift. They are becoming more selective, more observant, and less impressed by surface-level attention. Their emotional standards are rising, even if they cannot explain why. One of the most overlooked experiences in modern life is emotional burnout caused by shallow connections. These are relationships or interactions that look engaging on the surface but lack depth, emotional safety, and understanding. At first, they feel exciting. Attention feels like affection. Messages feel like connection. But over time, something begins to feel empty. The emotional effort outweighs the emotional return, and slowly your inner world becomes tired. The world often teaches people to chase attention, but it rarely teaches them how exhausting that attention can become. This is why so many emotionally aware individuals begin to withdraw. They are not giving up on love. They are rejecting emptiness. The person the world desires is also reaching this point. Despite being surrounded by admiration, they are beginning to feel emotionally fatigued. What once felt flattering now feels repetitive and unfulfilling. Destiny does not always speak through events. Often it speaks through silence, through pauses, through unexpected delays, through moments where life feels like it is waiting for something you cannot yet see. You may notice that certain doors are not opening, even when you try. This is not rejection, it is timing protection. If everything opened too early, you might miss what is meant to be deeply aligned with your growth. During this phase, intuition becomes stronger. You begin to feel things before they happen. You sense emotional shifts before they appear. This is because silence sharpens perception. The person the world desires is also in this silent phase. They are beginning to question what truly fulfills them. They are no longer satisfied with noise. They are listening for meaning. There is a strange emotional experience many people go through before meeting someone significant. They feel as if a connection already exists, even without evidence. It is subtle, almost dreamlike, but persistent. You may find yourself thinking about someone you have never met, or feeling emotional waves that seem to have no source. This is often your subconscious aligning with a future emotional reality before it physically manifests. This does not mean you are imagining things. It means your emotional awareness is expanding beyond current experience. Time is not always experienced linearly in emotional perception. The person the world desires is also experiencing this. They may feel like something important is approaching them, even though nothing in their environment has changed. It is an inner knowing without outer proof. There is a moment just before something life-changing arrives where everything begins to subtly align. You may not notice it immediately, but when you look back later, you will realize that everything was quietly preparing you. People from your past stop affecting you the way they used to. Old emotional triggers lose their power. Situations that once confused you begin to make sense. It feels like life is organizing itself in the background without asking for permission. This is arrival energy. It is not loud or dramatic. It is calm, structured, and almost invisible at first. But it signals that something significant is close, something that will feel different from everything you have experienced before. The person the world desires is also entering this phase. Their emotional chaos is beginning to settle. Their attention is shifting inward. They are no longer impressed by noise. They are searching for meaning without even realizing it. One of the deepest truths in emotional and spiritual growth is this: what you need the most will often stay away from you until you stop needing it in desperation. Not because life is cruel, but because desperation blocks alignment. When you are constantly seeking validation, connection, or love from a place of lack, your energy becomes heavy. But when you shift into self-completion, when you become emotionally stable within yourself, something remarkable happens. You begin to receive instead of chase. You stop chasing attention, and attention starts noticing you differently. You stop forcing connections, and the right ones begin to feel effortless. The person the world desires is also learning this lesson. They are slowly realizing that attention is not fulfillment, and admiration is not connection. They are beginning to crave peace more than pursuit. When two destined paths come close, the recognition is not logical, It is emotional and energetic. It feels like familiarity without memory, comfort without explanation, calmness without reason. You may feel as if you already know this person before knowing anything about them. Their presence feels grounding rather than exciting in a chaotic way. It does not confuse you, it stabilizes you. This is soul-level recognition. It is not about perfection or fantasy. It is about emotional truth. It feels different because it is not based on illusion. It is based on alignment. And then it happens, not like a movie explosion, but like a quiet shift in reality. A conversation, a glance, a moment that feels ordinary to the outside world but completely transformative to you. Nothing dramatic announces it, no signs in the sky, but internally something clicks. It feels like time slows down for a second, just enough for your soul to say, "This is different." You do not question it immediately. You simply feel it, a sense of calm certainty, a strange emotional peace, a feeling that you are not searching anymore because something has already arrived. The biggest misunderstanding in life is thinking that you were waiting for something to happen. In truth, you were never waiting. You were becoming the version of yourself that could recognize it when it arrived. Every experience, every emotional shift, every moment of confusion was shaping your awareness. You were not stuck, you were being prepared. And now, everything begins to make sense. This connection is not the reward for patience. It is the result of transformation. You did not attract it by chasing it. You attracted it by evolving into alignment with it. And when it finally stands in your life, you will understand something deeply. It was never about finding the right person. It was about becoming the right version of yourself to recognize them. So take a moment and reflect. Who are you becoming right now? Comment below and share your thoughts. And if this message resonated with you, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. This is Mirror of the Soul, where awakening meets emotional truth, and where you begin to see that nothing in your life was ever random. If this message touched something inside you, don't ignore it. These feelings are not accidents, they are signals. Share this video with someone who is still searching for meaning in their life. And remember, sometimes the person you've been waiting for is also waiting for the version of you that finally stopped running. Until next time, stay aware, stay aligned, and stay connected with Mirror of the Soul.